Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mortgage Coaches Training Thursday. This is Lori Lytle, and I'll be hosting today's call. So Training Thursday is a QA type of a training. We want to be able to answer the questions that you have. So before I start a topic, I want to see what you want to learn. So is there a topic that you want to cover? Open up your question area and let me know what that is. Are you, when creating a presentation, is your market a refinance market or a purchase market? So if you can let me know, let's go ahead and put it in the question area. When you're creating presentations, are you struggling with mortgage insurance? I'm trying to give you topics of things we can cover. I would rather cover something that you really want to learn. So with that, open the question area. Is it open house presentations? Is it total cost analysis for a refinance maybe? Maybe you want to struggle with ARM products and want to learn how to do ARM products. Okay, Patrick, he has an FHA Streamline refinance adding back up front MIP. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Okay, we can work on that one. Anyone else have anything in there that you want to see? Go ahead and place it in there. What I want to do while we're putting in some topics, so far we're doing a FHA Streamline. With that, I'm just at Mortgage Coach's website, and I want to be able to show you a couple items that we've added if you haven't seen it. We have Mortgage Coach examples. Down payment assistant, is that what you're asking, Scott? DPA, I think that is. And we could show that as one of the new products, just be able to build. So with that, I wanted to show you the Mortgage Coach examples. We have 3 different areas that you can go into. You can go into scenarios, and you can look at different presentations for the scenarios, and you can see real life presentations from our members. So we have those posted up there, the different types of presentations that you can see. So if you want to see different types of presentations you can create, just come here. You can view what other people are using out in the industry. So that's one area of being able to get some more assistance for scenarios. There's also experiences, so you can check out real life photos, but I also want to point out strategies. So if you want to learn more, there's more items here for different types of strategies. So you can see here, you can come in here and find out more information on FHA versus conventional, ARMs, refinances, lender paid, borrower paid, single premium, 80-10-10. So we have all those scenarios here. So you would just go to the Mortgage Coach website, under Connect, just go to Mortgage Coach examples, and you'll be able to view any of those type of examples here. Just want to point that out, so don't have any other type of topics within the question area. So what we're going to do is develop a refinance. We're going to start with an FHA Streamline. I know normally you wouldn't put a down payment assistance most likely with a refinance, but we're going to create one of those as one of the products so you can see it. If there's other products you want to be able to build, please put it in the question area and we'll build that product in this presentation. So again, if it's an ARM loan, whatever you want to be able to see, go ahead and place that in there. So let's go ahead and start it. If you're going to follow along with me, log into your Edge account. And for those of you who are new to Edge, we do have an intro class on Mondays at 9 a.m. where they'll go through and just create a simple total cost analysis and go through every field. In this particular case, what we're going to do is start with new client. So go ahead and click on new client, and we'll go ahead and start developing our FHA Streamline. So let's go ahead and put in, I'm just putting in my name here. I'm keeping it on own. This will produce my total cost analysis. If I was doing a rent versus own, I would want to mark this box. So that's the difference in these toggles. It's just the presentation that you're going to receive. Friendly name field, always remember to put this friendly name field because it is in the reference area and it's great to be able to know what this presentation is for. So I'm going to just put in Thursday's training, and I don't know if it's the 11th yet, so I'm just putting 11th, so 8/11. So I put my date in here just so I know what I'm doing for my trainings. So as I move on, you can go ahead and mark any of these items. I'm just going to go ahead and bypass. I'm showing you the minimum amount of fields to be able to create a presentation. So I'm just going to go ahead and bypass it, If you're doing a purchase, just want to point out, always mark purchase a new home, because what this will do is exclude the current mortgage that we're going to go about creating right now. So remember that a lot of times we see in support there's a purchase, they tend to have that current mortgage. So just remember, purchase, you always have to mark it, purchase a new home. So we're going to come back and explain these fields a little more, but first what I want to do is build our product, and then we'll come back and answer some of these questions. So first off, I'm just going to go ahead and put in my purchase price of $200,000. And let's just go and start talking about our current mortgage. So let's say they took out this loan on 1/1/14. And say the rate around then was 4.125, and we have a term of 360. I'm actually going to put it 5/1/14. This way it has the current MI numbers that we have. So we put in all that information here. And then what you want to do is open up your monthly costs. I'm just putting in estimates. If you know these figures, you could go ahead and actually open up these percentage areas, and you can actually place that dollar amount. So if you're working with a mortgage and you know a current mortgage and you know that they pay $75 in hazard, you can actually put that dollar amount and make it true. I'm just going to go ahead and use a percentage. And then you also have mortgage insurance. I'm going to say it was 1.35 back then, and I'm going to say calculate on balance. So with that, I'm going to remove my 78 and put in 360. So this is how the FHA MI, whoops, calculate on balance, how the FHA MI was set up back in that time period. And Patrick, you had mentioned about that upfront MIP. So in this Streamline, they're going to be receiving some of that money back. And the way, what you'll have to do is we'll work in the products and developing that new upfront MI, so that new FHA product. So that's where you'll actually take that upfront MI, do a little math, and that's where you'll place it. So that's where we'll talk a little bit more about that. But before we move off, let's discuss the current mortgage a little bit more. So you can see I just have that basic details that I placed in here. You can see when you put in the date, original loan amount, rate, and term, you'll notice that we calculate the remaining balance. At times with the remaining balance, the borrower might have paid money toward principal, so this isn't quite accurate. So if they've paid down, you could just go ahead and overwrite it. So say they paid it down to $180,000. So when you go ahead and you can override that figure, and then you would start your product out with the $180,000 as your new loan amount. So with that, that's one way of showing the remaining balance. I'm going to go ahead and get that recalculated. So 4.125. You'll also notice when you put in these items, the P&I payment will calculate below. So this is a good way of being able to take a look and see if you have the right payment, because a lot of times they'll provide you that payment, but you really might not know these figures. And if you don't, you can always modify it. So you can look at the payment here, say that wasn't the payment, it's a little bit too much, drop it down to 4%, and then you could sit there and just figure out what that interest rate is. So I want to be able to point out that, whoops, let's go ahead and get that back. So you can see how you could just work with that P&I payment. The next thing I want to do, let's go back a screen and let's discuss the items here. Original appraised value is very important with especially FHA products. What you would want to do is put in that original appraisal amount, and I'm just saying it's $200,000, because you would want to try to put in that appraisal amount, and if you don't know what it is, at least put that base loan amount here. And the reason why, because of that FHA and the declining balance, it will use this figure to determine the mortgage insurance and the declining balance amount. So you want to place that in here. And now I want to talk about this current payoff field, because we get a lot of questions in the support area that the cash to close is incorrect. A lot of times what we have is people will go ahead and place in a dollar amount here. And if you do, this dollar amount will be used as your starting loan amount and will be used for your cash to close. So remember, if you place a dollar amount in here, we will use this for the cash to close. We will not use the remaining balance field here. And you'll also note if I go back to that field and it says you hover your mouse over it and you'll get that little definition. It says this field will be used to calculate the cash to close on a new refinance. Do not use this field if subordinating, whoops, there we go, resubordinating a second mortgage. If this field is left blank, the current loan balance from the first and second will be used to calculate the payoff. So if you left this empty, and you had a second lien, we'd use the remaining balance here, and then we'd add the remaining balance on the second lien, and that would be your new loan amount to start your products with, and that's what you use for the cash to close. I know that's quite a bit, but if there's any questions on this aspect, let me know. My rule of thumb, always use this remaining balance. If they have paid down principal, you can always override it. Usually the only time this current payoff field is used when you want to project doing a loan a couple months down the road. And that's when I see how this current payoff amount is, or is used. So rule of thumb, leave that empty. Just go with the remaining balance aspect. And then we have our mortgage insurance. So if there's any questions on that current mortgage, please put it in the question area. So now what we're going to do is build an FHA product with today's information, and then we'll talk about that FHA Streamline and the upfront MI. So what you can do, I'm just bypassing the affordability area as well as the second one, capturing the financial position, because I'm trying to build my product fast. And when you do that, you could go ahead and just bypass those screens, the affordability screens. So let's go ahead and let's just do an FHA loan here. So what I want to do is come in. Is this an refinance? You want to say yes. You'll see that the figures changed here, and the base loan amount is that remaining balance. So you can see the connection. As soon as you mark it yes, we're going to go ahead and pull that remaining balance off that mortgage. So now let's go ahead and put in a new rate and term. Also want to point out, I forgot to mark it, you always want to use the drop-down upfront premium, and I'm going to select the FHA. And for those of you who are on enterprise accounts, look in your drop-down and see if you have an FHA product to be able to use. This one right here is a 3.5% down. You might have one, here it is, for a refinance. You'll be able to go ahead and use these templates, and then they will have that mortgage insurance automatically defaulted for you, so you don't have to worry about guessing those figures. I'm going to go ahead and build from scratch so you can see exactly how it's done, and then you can save this as a template as well. So with that, I marked it as yes, filled in my information. Now let's advance our screen and we'll work with the closing costs. If you use the template, you would see that the 1.75 defaulted for you, and you have that dollar amount. So Patrick, this is where you work with that Streamline refinance. So if you have a refund from that FHA, from the current mortgage you have, the way you're going to have to do it is, this is the dollar amount for the current upfront premium. So if there was an amount left, you actually need to reduce it here. So what I'm going to do is just open it up, and I'm just going to drop it down to $2,500. So say it was $1,000 that they get that refund, then you would just come here and put in that dollar amount. And this is what would be used for that upfront premium. So does that make sense, Patrick? It's just the aspect of, this is your upfront premium, they're getting a refund, and we're just modifying it and placing it here, and I'm adding it to the loan amount. So this way it will go ahead and add to the loan amount. Whoops, let's go ahead and put that back in. And it will go ahead and use this figure as that upfront MI, and it takes into account that money that they're receiving back. So that's how you address that with the streamlines. Prepaid interest days, you can put this, yeah, exactly. That's the one thing you will need to know is how much that refund will be, and then you can make that calculation here. Yeah, so that is the tricky part. You can always do an estimate and then place it in there if you have an idea, but yeah. And you can always come in after you're working with them and you know that figure, you can always come back in here and update it so you have your presentation using those updated numbers, current and accurate numbers. Okay. So prepaid interest, you can see how you can hover your mouse over that and you can see how the dollar amount. So now let's go into the closing cost details. You're welcome, Patrick. And if you have fee templates already built, you can see I have quite a few, you could go ahead and select that fee template and bring it down. And for those of you who are on an enterprise account, you'll have these fee templates already built for you, but sometimes they have it at the corporate level. The fees might be different slightly for your branch, which is not a problem. All you would need to do is bring down that corporate template, make your adjustments. So say, oh, we actually only do $425 for our appraisal. Let's get rid of that fee. Our processing happens to be $450. You see how I'm doing that, just modifying it to reflect what your branch and what your fees are. You'll notice that my lender's title and owner's title is left empty. And one thing, I don't have owner's title because I am a refinance, so let's remove that. You can see I just removed that by using that trash can. And then you could go ahead and then place that dollar amount for your title. A lot of times when you're developing fee templates, and if anyone needs assistance in developing fee templates, please let me know in the question area, because what we'll do is when we get to that second product, we'll develop a fee template if you need to be able to see that. So with it, just want to point out, if you have a variable, and what I find out a lot is when you're getting those title fees, you actually have to go out to your specified title company and get the estimate. Since it's different for loan to loan, most people just leave these fields empty and come in and update it when they're creating the presentation. If you know your fee, you could put that as part of the default, part of your template. And I also wanted to point out that you have a field for percentage and dollar amount. So let's go ahead and add a fee just to be able to show you. Say it was let's go do a stamp tax on mortgage. A lot of times when you do these different types of stamps, you use it as a percentage. So with that, I could go ahead and put in my percentage amount, and you can see how we calculate that. We also, on add custom fee, if you're using a percentage and you find out it's going against the loan amount and you really need that to go off the sales price, not a problem. You could create a custom fee, put in that description, and you see the second field here, it's the percentage field. You can calculate it off the loan amount or off the property value sales price. So this is how you can control that percentage field. So if you're ever using that percentage field, wanting to determine what the calculation is, you could go ahead and just create it. Is it a prepaid escrow, which we'll talk about shortly? And if it's an APR fee, just make sure you have it marked. So this is how you develop a custom fee that you can use. And when you create those custom fees are now in your drop down. So you can see how I have quite a few of the same ones. It's just because I keep creating them, I haven't cleaned them out. So you have your custom fee you would always be able to use for any future loans, and then you can add that dollar amount in here, and I have it marked as an APR. Want to point out this blue area in the section of the fees. You'll have, if we have points, it would show that dollar amount. You can see my prepaid interest is displaying, as well as that upfront MIP. So we have all those figures in the outer screen listed here. And then we total the borrower paid fees. If we had a lender paid fee, it would total here as well as amount for the seller. And then you have the MIP cash here. So you can see everything, all the totals are listed right below. If you have modified your fees in any way and want to save it as a template, just click Save as Template and develop your new template. You can also, if you originate multiple states, you can have fee templates based on those states. So once I press OK, it just saves that template, and you can use that template for any future presentations. So what I'm going to do in the next product, so Jeff, in the next product I'll show that down payment assistant. I know it's a purchase product. We'll throw it on here real quick just to be able to show you. But that also is where the fees are affected. So let's go ahead and apply this to loan. So now we have all our fees. You can see how the fields are grayed out. If you ever want to modify these grayed out fields, just go back to the closing costs and make your adjustments. If you're using points, if you have the rebate, you can always go ahead and put in your points here. So you could do it as a positive or a negative for your points. Now when we come to our monthly cost screen, let's open these up. I'm just putting my estimate in. And now the MI is back to 0.85. I'm calculating the MI on balance, and the MI goes for the life of the loan. If you want to show reserves, you can put in the number of months for reserves, and you're all set. So before we actually work on that down payment assistant product, let's go ahead and just take a look at our presentation to see how it's being built. I want to go ahead and put on today's quote date. And the way I got to this screen is I hovered my mouse over presentation and I selected the preview jump out. That takes you to the very last screen where you can preview your presentation. So you can see with that presentation, we not only do we have that lower interest rate, but we also are saving on mortgage insurance. So you can see how the payment is less. And now let's go into the More Info button. So in that More Info button, you'll be able to see the difference in that mortgage insurance. And then you can also see I have a little bit higher taxes and insurance. You can adjust that to make it even, to make it the same amount. And then if you click on closing costs, you can see how we have our fees here and your fee details. So with that, you can see how they're saving $133, but let's look at this red negative here. So the savings over 60 months, why is it a negative 0.1259? So let's take a look. So the short-term area takes the interest and MI that's paid over that 60 months, and you can see how it's definitely less than that current mortgage. But you do have those fees. So with those closing costs and points, we total that, and now it's a little bit more than that standard loan. So that's the reason why we have the negative. But I also want to show you, how do you find that break-even point? When are they going to break even from that loan with those costs? So what you do is go to the analysis screen, and you can work with the short-term analysis months. So we already know it hasn't broken even the 60th month. So let's try 72. So there we go. So now let's go ahead, they're all current. And let's take a look at our presentation. And you'll see how it just changed from 60 to 72, and it's still negative, but not by much. So you can see within that a little over 6 years, that's when they're breaking even. So let's just put in 85 months just to see. So you can see. So that's where, when it updates, you can see where it now becomes positive and where that break-even point is. But another way of doing that, and I'm still going to get to that down payment assistant. I want to keep on refinances before I confuse everybody. But with that, what I want to point out is you're taking account of that lower mortgage insurance and that payment. So you're having a savings. So let's take that savings and reinvest it toward principal, and then let's see how that short-term savings has changed. So what we're doing is making apples to apples. We're going to compare the exact payment. So now let's go back to Mortgage Coach, and let's go back to that analysis screen. So in here, this is where you're going to use the Adjust Reinvestment Matrix, and this is where you can make those payments to apples. So when we go into the Adjust Reinvestment, you can see we have the current mortgage in the FHA product and the savings of $132. So what I want to do is on the reduction payment line, go ahead and put that $132.54. So by adding that dollar amount toward principal each year, you can see we just, the loan will be paid off in just a little under 24 years. So you're currently bypassing, they're at 27.67 years. So let's take a look at the presentation to be able to see this in a little bit bigger format. So let's go to the presentation. You'll see over here, there it goes, we're showing that reduction in payment. And you'll notice the numbers here have changed slightly because it's taking into account that you're applying money toward principal. And when you apply money toward principal, you're going to be paying less interest. So with that, let's go take a look at the More Info button. So now you can see how the interest is. It's 68, almost 69, and here you have 62,308. So you could see with that and adding the fees how much that principal, when applying that amount toward principal, you're paying even less interest. So let's go back to Edge, and what I want to do is just place it back at 60 months. So with that, let's just see where it's sitting, applying that additional amount toward principal. They're still in the hole a little bit on that break-even point, but it's only a negative 278 at this point. But also take a look, even though they haven't recouped, but look at the 15-year mark. They're paying $129,000 in interest versus $105. That's huge. You know, so really depending on when they're going to be, how long they're staying in this house, definitely show them these areas and these numbers. So you are saving hugely in here, and then also by applying, you know, the savings toward principal, now we're paying the exact same payment as we had used to do that, had done previously. If you don't want to apply it to principal, you can also show them as a reinvestment. If there were, if they have an investment account, you could go into the reinvestment strategy, and instead of applying it toward principal, they can apply it toward a savings or an investment account. So let's say I'm putting the dollar amount into an investment account, and they have one that has a 3% return. So in that 15 years, if they put that additional monthly amount away, they would have $30,000 in a savings by the end of 15 years. Want to point out, if you do use money toward an investment account, a lot of times you want to show net worth. So you can see it's $196,989 versus $216. We do take into account the savings, and let's take a look at our presentation. Go ahead and wait for that adjustment. You see how the reduction toward principal has been removed. And there we go, we have our net worth. So you can see how the graph, it's showing how much for the house, 216, and then the breakdown between the investment account. So let's open up the More Info button and be able to see it a little clearer. So here's the investment balance, shows that information. Our home value, we're showing a 3% rate of return, and you'll be able to see how that, we have all that information here. So you also have the loan balance at the end of that 15-year period, be able to show that to the borrower so you can see how they're faring between the two products. So if there's any question on that, what I'm going to do now is dive into a down payment assistant product. So if you want to talk a little bit more on that current mortgage, that Streamline, go ahead and let me know. Okay, one question, just one moment. Okay. Okay, so yes, so Patrick is asking that my base loan amount was $191,732. You can see that on the current mortgage. And then now my new loan amount is $195,087. If using the base loan amount, shouldn't there be a cash to close? So what I have done here with that loan amount, I have increased it, and the increase is due to the upfront MI. So that's why my loan amount is a little bit higher. And then the cash to close is basically the fees. And because I've wrapped that upfront MIP into the loan amount, and what's due at closing is just those fee costs. Okay, let's go back to the product page. So let's go back to Edge, and first let's just go to the mortgage. You can see that $191,732. Let's go to our product now, same dollar amount, $192,732. And then when we advance the screen, my upfront MIP didn't reduce, but what it's doing is adding that amount, that $333 or $33.55 to that loan amount, and that's how we're getting the $195. Is that what you see, Patrick? So you just have this, and then if you were doing a refinance as well, you do have the option of adding your fees to the loan amount. And a quick way of doing that is there's a button here, and you can add all your fees at one time. You can use it again and remove it. But again, if you add all your fees, apply it to the loan, you'll see on the loan amount will increase shortly, and then also reduce that cash to close. And I think I don't have my prepaid interest. There we go. So you can see my interest rate or my loan amount. Oh, good, you got it. But look, this is another question that we get. I still have cash to close, and I added all my fees to the loan amount. I don't understand. What happens here is when we go into a fee area, you'll see our prepaid interest is on the outside. I want to add that to the loan amount as well as all the fees here. So once I have done that, added that to the loan amount, remember you always have to advance the screens left or right for that save. So now I have 43 cents. So I'd have to look to see why I have 43 cents. But you see where you would have to modify it and be able to add that information. And that's probably the upfront MIP paid in cash. So there we go on that. So any other questions, just let me know. That was a good question there, Patrick. Thank you. So now let's work on a down payment assistant. I was going to build it on the product, but it's just too confusing doing a purchase and a refi together. So let's go ahead and click on New Client. And what I'm just going to do is down payment as my title. I always do my friendly name field. So I'm going to make this quick. So I want to put in my title. I want to market purchase, remember, because that excludes our current mortgage. And I'm just jumping directly to products. So that was really quick. I just marked it, put my name, marked it as a purchase. Yeah, I have an exclamation mark here, but that's okay. I'll explain in a moment. And then we have our products. So with the down payment, and what I'm going to do is first do a silent second, and then we'll work on a couple different down payment assistance. So with that, the reason why I bypass this screen, I have my purchase price here. So I could go ahead and put in that dollar amount in this area. This is also in the assumptions area, so if you put that $250 here, when you get to the products, it would have carried over. So you just want to point out, but you could bypass it, just come directly to products if you like. So down payment assistance, let's say that they're going to be receiving 3% for their assistance, so that's $7,500, and they have a down payment of 3.5. Just want to, I've seen so many different types of down payment assistance. This is the type I'm doing, so I can encompass a couple. So we have our information here, and then let's go ahead and put in an interest rate. Usually these down payment assistance are FHA products, so I want to make sure I put in that upfront MIP. You'll notice on the very right-hand side when you're creating a new product, as soon as you advance that screen, your graphs are being built. So this is where you go ahead and add your upfront MIP as well as your fees. Let's put in the 15. So this is where, with a down payment assistant, and what I'm going to do is work with a silent second. And this silent second has 0 payments, and everything's due either when they refinance or sell the home. So with that, the workaround, because we don't have a direct way of doing it, is you need to add that to the closing cost details. So with that, you could go ahead and apply your fee template. And then what you would need to do is add a custom fee. You could see, let's see if I have one already created. No. So you would add a custom fee and just put whatever title you want. Sometimes there's more of a direct label depending on that down payment assistance. So you could just create your product here. And then I want to mark it as a prepaid escrow because that is dollar amounts. It's not a fee. We don't want to be able to have this captured in our short-term area because it's not a cost to the loan. So you want to make sure it is marked prepaid escrow. Once you do that, you now have that you can use that description for any future down payment assistance products. So a couple ways you could do it. If you want to put the 3% here, you could go ahead and do that, but it is capturing the upfront MIP here. And actually you put it as a negative. So what I'm going to do is to offset my cash to close, I need to enter this as a negative. And you see I have it marked pre-PE. So with that, it will go ahead and reduce that cash to close by that down payment assistance amount. So we're not truly showing that second lien. We're just going to go ahead and show it by offsetting that dollar amount because in this particular case there's no payments. It's just everything's due and payable at the end of the term or if they refinance or sell the house. So once I have that, I apply it to the loan, advance the screen, put in my monthly costs, and always remember, and it's really great when everyone's doing this correctly now, always on FHA loans, make sure you calculate MI on balance. This provides that declining balance that FHA has. USDA loans also have that, so make sure you have that marked. So, and that way, otherwise it will just be like a conventional product. So let's take a look at how this looks like on our report. So you can see how you have that loan amount and all the information here, as well as when you go into your more info, you'll be able to show them in the fee area that down payment assistance amount. So there it is right there. So Jeff, do you have any questions on that one? That's how you could do a silent second type of a down payment assistant. If you have a product where they're actually, it's sort of like a second lien, a true one, what we could do is let's develop the same product and have a second lien attached to that little amount. So I'm going to add another product, and I'll just put this as second lien so we know the difference. And I'm going to make this really quick and easy. I don't want to have to key this in brand new, but what I'm going to do is copy from my first product because I already have my fees created and entered onto it. So let's press OK. And then what I'm going to do is modify that second screen. I want to remove the down payment assistant and put it as a second. So if I go back into my closing cost details, let's remove that down payment assistance, apply it to the loan. And then in the next screen, you have the last field is asking for a second. Oh, great, Jeff, I'm glad. So you mark it as a yes, advance the screen, and this is where you key in that second lien information. So I think it was 7,500 was that 3%. They usually have a higher rate. I'll just use 5 and 360. So with that, you then let's take a look. If they had fees, you would enter that. If you have a third product, you could go ahead and add your third product. So let's take a look at our presentation. You have that second lien that went ahead and now is comparing. So you can see they have exact same amount, cash close, yes. I was going to say, wait, the cash close should be different because they're taking that second lien amount coming in for that cash to close, and in here, we're taking that amount through a fee. So you have the two differences, and you can see how having that down payment assistant monthly costs us a little bit cheaper each month, and then you have your savings. So that down payment assistance is a good product. So are there any, what I want to do is work a little bit with Edge Live, but before I do that, are there any other questions that you would like to review on the TCAs that we just created, or if there's any other items within Edge, any of these screens that you want a little more clarity on, let me know and we could go ahead and dive into that a little bit deeper with it. So let me go ahead and bring up my mobile app for you. Just one moment. And put in the question area, how many people have you worked with Edge Live with your clients? I would like to know that. So if anyone has worked with Edge Live, can you please put it in the question area and let me know? So this way we'd be able to, so David, thank you for putting that on there. He has not. Edge Live is great. So once you get this down, it's a great way to be able to communicate with your borrowers when you project. Great. I'm glad you're using it, Patrick. His comment was they love it. Feel like I have control of their computer. And in a way you do. You can't get the same type of interaction if you're sending them a fee cost sheet or an Excel sheet, because you don't have the way of, in a sense, pointing out to a certain field and directing them. And that's where Edge Live comes in. So with that, let's go ahead and first off, let's use one of the products that we created. Is it this one? Okay, we'll use that current in the FHA product. So a quick way for me to find that link, you'll see on the presentation on the desktop, there's a share button. And that share button will provide that link. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you have your mobile app open, if you want to follow along, you could go ahead and key in this number. All you have to do is actually just key in the number itself. You don't have to worry about the HTTP. So let's go ahead and put in 1, B as in boy, V as in Victor, and then 250. So now it's loading the report for us, and then you'll be able to see how it works. So let's go ahead and press OK here. Always on top. There, so we won't lose it. So with that, let's go ahead and just bring this down a little bit. So this is the borrower's presentation. I'm going to go ahead and press Clear All. to clear out all, I meant the loan officer's copy. And that's how you'll always know. If you're not quite sure if the presentation is the loan officer's copy versus the borrower's copy, the loan officer will always have that clear all button, and the borrower will not. And the borrower doesn't have a way to highlight. So you want that clear all copy. And the way I received it is just by going to my last screen here. Whoa, just a second. Go to presentation. And then click preview. When you click preview, that's the loan officer's copy. If you go into generate link, you also have this Edge Live, and it works the same way. So preview and Edge Live are the same presentations that you receive, and both of them will have that clear all button. So now with that, you can see how, if the borrower is viewing it, if you start highlighting a field and want to talk about that loan amount, oh, I have the wrong product up. Let's skip over. Down payment. One more time. The current mortgage. When you start highlighting, you're driving the presentation for that borrower. You can see how the on the mobile device, on my iPad, it automatically changed and went directly to the more info in the summary area. So if I clicked on, wanted to talk about that down payment assistance amount, you can see how I can open up that area, and the mobile automatically drove and got to that same spot. Now I'm clicking on closing costs, and you can see how the mobile device is driving for the borrower. I can open up the fee details, and it will open up on the mobile app as well for that borrower. So this is a great way of really reaching out and, like Patrick said, have control of the computer in a way. So you'll be able to highlight the different areas, and of course I have the one without the down payment assistance. And then as you're talking, oh, it's not filling out. A lot of times with GoToMeeting it doesn't open up. There's so much. But you'll be able to place that highlights, be able to guide that borrower through it, and to be able to see it in one more format, and then we're going to dive into how you can actually access and run Edge Live through your mobile as well. So let me go ahead and open up one more tab. And what I did is I copied the link to my presentation, and this is what, if the borrower opened their presentation on a desktop, this is how they'll view it. You notice there's no clear all button like I mentioned, so this is the borrower's copy. Yes, exactly. David had a question, so I could test this out by opening my phone and making the changes and seeing the results. Correct. And the best way of learning Edge Live is if you have two monitors, put the borrower's copy on one monitor, and then you even have it on your mobile, and then start driving, and you'll be able to really see how you can drive that presentation. And to show you, let me just go ahead, besides the mobile app, let's put these two side by side so you get an idea of how you could drive that presentation. And really, you know, a lot of times the best way of doing that is by, let's see, let's get you over here. There we go. Is using two screens. It just makes it a little bit easier, but in this case I want to be able to show you just side by side, so I'm splitting my screen, having the presentations on each side plus my mobile device. So you can see on the very left hand side I have a clear all button, which means this is the loan officer's copy, and I just cleared out all the highlights on the desktop. And if I went into my summary, I'm manually doing this, you can see all the highlights are cleared. So now, whoa, moves around. So now, you know, just like before, I'm left clicking on the title. I drove it on the borrower's presentation on the desktop, and it will also drive on the mobile as well. So you can see how it pushed open. You can then clear all. It'll clear out all the highlights, and then you can start with the FHA, and then you can highlight that as well. So you can see how you could drive the presentation. You can also drive it by opening up the More Info button, and you see how you can just keep driving that information for the borrower. So if they're at home and using a desktop, if they're at home maybe on a mobile or out and about, they can view this on their iPad or their phone. So you'll be able to have that conversation, and you can also drive it through the highlighting features. And not only can you highlight and drive it this way, you can make changes and they'll see, to the data itself, and they'll see those changes. So let's go ahead and close out of this. And then just as a real quick, I'm just going to change the interest rate here, just so it would be able to list clear all. So you could see the change. So I have 3.875, and what I'm going to do is jump over to Edge. Let's make this just a tad bigger so you can see it. Go to Products. Oh, I'm in my down payment assistant again. Okay, let's go to the other one. And I'm just going to jump it to 4, just so you can see that. So if I went to 4, made my updates, go to my presentation, let's move it over so you can see the bars. Whoops, see, the bars copy has already been updated to 4%. My copy just updated to 4%. And you'll see that the mobile also has been updated. So that's, you can make changes with the data input. It will be seen live for the borrower. You can add products. You can work with the reinvestment strategy. You can do all those items while you're on the phone with the borrower, and they'll be able to see it. So now if you take the iPad, let's go ahead and we're going to log into the account. So if you do have your mobile, your phone or a tablet near you, go ahead and grab it and let's log into your account. So what you would do is when you're on the home screen here, you'll see the silhouette. And this is where you access your account. So you want to go to your silhouette and you want to log in. So let me go ahead and log into my account. Out of this one. Okay, and I'm going, just one moment. And then we'll sign in. Okay. So when you sign in, this is what you see. And what I'm going to do is actually open up my Edge account so you can see the difference between the mobile as well as your Edge. So if I go into Edge, let me just move this over a bit so I can, okay, let's bring this back and we're going to go to the home page. And this way you'll be able to see the different areas on the mobile as well as on the desktop version. So let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit. So when you first log in, you have your partners and your clients and performance. So you also have a report tracking on your desktop. And this also provides the tracking of your presentations. So you can see I have a presentation and it's been viewed 3 times. So this gives you in the last time the date and time that it was accessed. So report tracking gives you this type of information as well as your mobile device. So on your mobile device, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going into clients and you can see your files right here. So if you'll notice, it's in the same order. I'm in the wrong account again. I'm in a different account. So what you'll see is your list of your clients will be listed in the same order on this side. And so what I'm going to do is let's just go ahead and go into my file here, Lori Lytle. This gives you now the option. So I want to go into the total cost analysis. And now what do you want to do with it? I want to do live reporting. You also can record your video here as well, but let's just keep along with live reporting. So what this is going to do is just as I drove the presentation with the desktop, you can also drive it with your mobile device. So if you're not in the office, and you're speaking to that borrower, bring out your mobile device, bring out your tablet, your iPad, and you'll be able to drive the presentation as well. So with that, let's go ahead, and what I want to do is just bring up the presentation. Oh, I won't be. So with that, you would just go ahead and highlight, because I have a different presentation up. So if you highlight it, you can see, be able to use that with the borrower and drive their presentation. So whatever, just like with the desktop, if you touch and highlight, it will highlight for the borrower as well. So I'm just highlighting different fields here just with my finger. So that's how you could go ahead, and we're going to go back in the Silhouette. That's how you could do Edge Live. So it was just going into Clients, you pick your presentation, and you have the option of Edge Live right there. You can also just view the presentation if you want to view it. And for those of you want to let you know, we are going to be coming out pretty soon that you can actually change your data through the mobile device. You'll be able to actually create the presentation here as well. So that is our next release, and it's probably be early fall, so look forward to that. So with that, let's go ahead before, wanted a couple more, so let's just go back into this. I should show how to do video just a moment. So you do have the options. I went ahead. Okay, view report. We did live reporting. View report is just bringing up the report for you to view. I'm not going to bring that up for right now, but let's check out the video. Oh, whoa. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura. Got my headphone on. So with that, what you would want to do is create the presentation. Want to make eye contact, and I don't know where my camera is here, and I keep missing it. But anyhow, you'd be able to make that message to them. Make it short. Keep it about a minute, minute and a half. You don't want to do it too long. If you're using open house presentations, remember that you'll be able to use that circle here. You could go ahead and flip it around and walk through an open house and create a message that way. So there's a lot of different ways you could go ahead and create that presentation. Come on, let's clear out. Okay, there we go. So once you have recorded the video, it would go ahead and append to that presentation. But I'd also want to point out, when you go ahead, I should just record a video real quick. You'll see, is it recorded? Okay, so you do have the options of use video. You can see it's down there. If I use video, what it will be doing at that point of time, it will convert that call and then append it to your presentation. So you can see it's upload finishing. But if you ever want to delete the video and you recorded it on your mobile device, you would need to come back here and delete it as well. So if I went into the total cost, went into the video, see, you could go ahead and replace and re-record as well as re-upload a video. And also, if you're doing a second or third message, this is a great way. You could go ahead, instead of writing that email, you can use that video messaging. Hey, you know, just want to let you know we received X and Y, Z. We're moving forward perfectly. And if you need anything, you could go ahead and let them know. And sometimes people have pre-recorded messages, and the second or third time you do a recording is when you want to be able to put a pre-recorded message on it. You don't really want to do it on the first time because you're just meeting that person, and you really want to be able to have a candid message to them, a personalized message. But see, there's that trash can. If you record on the mobile, make sure you come in here. If you want to remove it, this is where you remove it. So with that, what I also want to point out, where's the other? No, don't want to do here. Also want to point out your performance. This is also when you're in the home screen, when you go into view, this is where you can see your different views. You have partners or clients, whichever one you want to look at. I'm looking at my client ones, and a weekly or monthly. So if you want to be able to change and just be able to see what you've been doing that week, you'll be able to track it here. Going back into the Silhouette, I'm in the upper right-hand corner. And here is where you can use that album. This is where the album prompt is. So if you want to be able to use a pre-recorded message, you would need to turn this on, and then you can access that pre-recorded message. You can always reset your password if you need to here, as well as logging off. So with that, we're at the 10 o'clock hour. If there's anything that we're going to go ahead and call today's training. If there's anything, I'll be on the call for another couple minutes. If there's anything you want to see, just let me know. We'll go ahead and cover it. So just want to point out, more training can be, you can have, if you go to the help button. Not only with the help button, it will bring you to our knowledge page. Oh, perfect, Stephen, I'll show you. So when you press help, it brings you to our knowledge page. And we do record our training Thursdays as well as our Tuesday coaching calls. And you can see them right here. If you go to the Access to Coaching Call archive, you'll be able to see all the calls. You can see our last training. But we'll post today's by the end of today, and you'll see that in here. And you'll also see all our webinars as well as our Tuesday coaching calls. So you have that. And then remember, on our webpage, on our Mortgage Coach site, we do have examples and scenarios and strategies that you can connect or get through the Connect tab, Mortgage Coach examples. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for attending. Oh, what I want to do is actually go to this is what I want to do. So for future training, not only do you get the coaching call archive, I want to point out our monthly calendar of events. So we do have a Mortgage Coach University. It's the first 3 weeks of the month, and of every month. We have it at 8 a.m. For the 101 and at 11 a.m. the 102. And we do purchase and the reprice strategy, and then a combination of there on the 3rd week. You can always sign up for those here, and you can even see what the curriculum is. So this also helps you to find out what you can do in Mortgage Coach. Not only we have widgets, we have different things you could do, but it's also different scenarios. So if you're not quite sure what you want to be able to create, come in here. You have annual mortgage reviews. It gives you an idea of what kind of scenarios, plus the web page with the examples. So you'll be able to get that information here. So we have our calendar. I just want to move back, and it's not giving me my back spot. So with that, we have the calendar, you have the Mortgage Coach University, and then you also have Mobile Wednesday. Mobile Wednesday really teaches you how to be able to use that mobile app, and just go ahead and sign up for that. And people sign up for that one. It is live. We do things slightly different each week. So some people go to that Mobile Wednesdays, and they'll attend it a few times until they're very comfortable with using their mobile device. So wanted to point out that, and those who are new to Mortgage Coach, every Monday we do have that intro to Mortgage Coach where we show you how to key in and create a simple presentation including video. So with that, everyone, thank you so much. Any questions, I'll stick around. Otherwise, we're calling the call. Enjoy your day, everyone, and if you have any questions, email us at support@mortgagecoach.com. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. Oh. Okay, Patrick. Okay, thank you, everyone. Again, email us at support. We'll reach out to you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day.